As we go on here, we're going to look at verses 21 through 27. It says, "The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And on those parts of the body, what we think less honorable, we bestow greater honor, and our unpresentable parts are treated with greater modesty, which our more presentable parts do not require. But God has so composed the body, giving greater honor to the part that lacked it, that there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together. Now you are the body of Christ, and individually members of it." So in the last section there, it talked about how a member of the body sometimes has a tendency to criticize itself and say, I don't have a good enough role here, so I'm not a part of the body of Christ. Now that turns it on its head and says, now, the eye can't say to the hand, I have no need of you. Like we as members of the body of Christ can't say to one another, we don't need you. We obviously need one another to function properly. And so it says in this section, the error is of one part wanting to say something false of another part. What does verse 21 say about the ability of one part to say something false about another part? It cannot say it. And the reason it can't is because they are, in fact, parts of the body and cannot be lived without. And then we get into this next section. It says, what parts of the body of Christ get the most recognition? Again, it's probably going to be somebody like a pastor or somebody that's always in the limelight. Like I think about in our church, maybe somebody like Brandon or Jason in the case of Upward. They're the upfront people. In the children's ministry, there's Miss Bobby, David Ball in the area of music. And so all those people that are going to be up front sometimes get the most recognition, definitely. But I like this comment that was put in here, and I've got an additional thought with it. It says that you might want to take this opportunity to explain the members of the body of Christ like a preacher would be likened to the mouth. But as I was reading that, I was also thinking that, and I don't want to go too far with this illustration, but like if a preacher is likened to the mouth, that they are overtly communicate things. We also have to remember that in the area of communication, the body language makes up 90%. Like 90% of communication is nonverbal. So if we further that illustration there, it just goes to show that the rest of the body is vital, even in the area of communication. But we're applying this to the function of the body of Christ. Okay, looking at the next question, we see if you ask this question just outright without giving it some attention beforehand, you're most likely going to come up with some blunt answers from boys, and most likely some girls are going to be embarrassed and they're not going to say anything. And you might have some crossover of both, but you need to explain that this next question they need to answer in an appropriate way. They don't need to be screaming out private parts of the body. So the question is, what are some of the parts of the human body that we treat with more modesty and protection? And the answer there is not just the private parts, but even parts of the upper arms, abdomen, upper legs, plus all our vital system organs are hidden and protected. So just be careful about that one. But again, it's the analogy. As we're looking on into question 4, do some creative imagery. So what do these hidden parts of the body compare with in the body of Christ? Excuse me just a moment. And in that, the answer is going to be the backbone, nervous system. Um, says this might be likened to the gift of giving, which is vital and done in secret. The lungs may be likened to prayer warriors who breathe in secret. The mind might be likened to the countless hours a pastor or counselor prepares and labors for the benefit of his hearers. The heart, our most vital organ, protected by the ribs, might be likened to those with the gift of mercy. So, you know, take some time on Saturday to really kind of do some comparison. You don't have to just use the ones that we got listed here. Um, think for yourself. What are some comparisons of different parts of the body that would be to the gifts of the body of Christ, and just kind of help them think through that, so that this is, because I mean, you know, we can read this all day long and then not translate it into practicality, and understanding that this really does have a correlation in the body of Christ. So help them work through that process, because their mind's probably not instantly going to go from like what was mentioned here. Lungs, oh, well, that's just like somebody who is a prayer warrior. Like, that's not a natural correlation for them in their mind. And it may not be a natural correlation for you in your mind. It may take a little bit of work to try to bridge the gap there. But take some time and do that, and I think it'll be real beneficial for them and you as well. All right, number 4 talks about, have you ever stubbed your toe really badly? Like, what is the reaction that happens? You know, your toe's not down there yelling and screaming. You know, it's not writhing in pain. Like, the whole rest of your body is in agony because you have just impaled your toe with a couch or a bed or something that is not going to give. And, you know, there's nothing about that that is enjoyable for the rest of your body at all. Like, we don't look down there and say, oh, that toe must be suffering. Nope, you are suffering, all of you. I actually had a friend of mine today sent me a picture and said, hey, can you handle gross pictures? And like, I don't know how many of y'all can handle gross pictures or not. I really want to put it on the screen for you to see. But I'm afraid that some of you would double over in pain and then be very upset with me because I made you throw up in your own house. But at any rate, I'm not going to do that for you. I'm just going to let you imagine, as he was carrying a refrigerator, his finger was caught in the hinge of the door. And actually the door shut, or the door opened, one of the two, I don't know which, I guess it would be the door. He had his hand in there and the door opened on his finger, and it's broken in a couple places, and it's so smashed that the plastic surgeon is going to have to look at it on Monday. But I don't think he was looking at his finger and saying, wow, that finger must really, really hurt. You obviously, everything about you hurts whenever a part of your body hurts. Number 5, choose a body part you would give up for the benefit of others. Mouth, stomach, hands, eyes, brain, or little toe. It says, obviously, you would give up your little toe, but look at all the parts that come to the rescue of the toe when it's injured. You know, again, it's just another way to signify that we are a whole. We're not individual parts. You know, in the body of Christ, it probably is easy for us to overlook. Unfortunately, it's easy for us to overlook whenever somebody else is hurting, but really, as a member of the body of Christ, we should all ache whenever somebody else is hurting. All of this imagery, talking about the body of Christ and connectedness, really the thrust of what we're trying to get across here today, because if we are all interconnected and one together, then that has huge implications for how we submit to one another.